Step 17.8 is all about changing column width and row height. Sometimes the data that you enter into a cell does not always fit in the column. When the data is too wide for the cell, it sometimes runs over outside the column, just as you see in Cruise 4, Bahamas and Florida, and Mediterranean and Panama Canal and destination all run outside the column into E. So in that case, we need to change the height of a row or the width of a column. So let's go ahead and get started. You should be in Cruise 4, and we will rename our document as Cruise 5. Now, point to the boundary on the right side of column B heading. Now, this is your boundary. When you get that double-headed arrow, that bold double-headed arrow, that lets you know that you are at a boundary mark. So click and drag, and notice the screen tip. Currently my width is 8.43, which is 64 pixels. I want to drag it for 11, which is 82 pixels. Let me go back. I'm now there. My width is 11, 82 pixels according to my screen tip. Release your mouse. So that's one way to adjust your column height, by getting the boundary and clicking and dragging. Click in column D heading. And in the cells group, drop down on your format arrow. And because we are working with the width of the column, let's select auto fit column width, just like you learned how to do in Microsoft Word when you worked in tables. That's another way to automatically fit your contents within the cell. And notice all of our text now fits in our column D. Click the column A heading and drag across to include columns B and C. So you want to select columns A, B, and C, and put your boundary in between, get the boundary in between columns C and D, double click, and we were able to adjust the columns all at one time by selecting all the columns and clicking on the last boundary of the column selected. The next thing we'll do is click on row 1 heading to select the entire row, and move over to your format button in your cells group. Drop down on the arrow and select row height. Now we want to change our row height to 25. Click OK, and notice the row height for row 1 increased. This is helpful if you want to increase the font size. Click anywhere to deselect the row, and notice that you have extra space in row 1. Basically, we just went through a series of changing our row height and our column width by getting the boundary and double clicking, clicking and dragging, or using the cells group format button to select our row height, auto fitting row height, auto fitting column width, are selecting column width. Save this document, and I will see you on the next step.